What is up, everybody? And today we are going to talk about a little bit of season 2 of Marvel Rivals and kind of a little bit of some gameplay tips. This is going to be about one specific character. So if you guys have been watching me, you know that I've been maining Psylocke throughout. I think it's Psylocke. I don't know. I think it's Psylocke is how you say it. I don't know. I'm not great at pronouncing names sometimes, but anyway, I've been using Psylocke a lot this season. It's been my main. I think she's probably the best duelist right now. In Marvel Rivals, I think other characters like Hela are really good. Bucky's still solid, and Starlord are good, but they're not like top tier because of the nerfs they faced. And some pretty hefty nerfs too. But yeah, still Hela's still really good. Psylocke got a damage buff, plus the other characters have been nerfed, so she's in a good spot right now, so especially for the duelist position. And I've been maining her a lot. Um, I do recommend you do learn other characters because once you get to higher rank lobby, she's just gonna get selected really fast. So you're gonna probably have to play other characters. You're gonna want to learn like those great tier characters, but not like the top 5 like characters, right? Like in the duelist position, like Bucky, Hela. What's another example? Heck, the inflatable guy, whatever his name is. Um, Spider-Man, he's still really good. Um, characters like that have really taken a step up this season. That you're gonna want to learn, especially throughout the season. But today I'm gonna teach you how you can dominate this character. So basically what I'm teaching you guys is how to consistently play well with this character and how I do it. So I made my settings video and they felt really good to me, but they may not feel good to you guys. So the first part is find a good sensitivity for aiming that feels good to you. Okay? Find a good aim assist window that feels good to you, where you feel comfortable playing with that at a consistent rate. Because if you have a consistent or really good sensitivity, you're going to feel very fluid. And I felt very fluid with the sensitivities I have, right? And I was just sharing them so you guys can kind of get an idea. But again, you don't want to just copy them. And if you feel like you have to adjust, you definitely should. I recommend you do instead of just trying to learn through it. Because sometimes something just doesn't feel good, and you have to take the truth from that, right? So that's very important um when using this character. Because you definitely need to get tags. You need to have good aim with this character. Um you can go into the practice range and practice different distances with this character. I recommend a lot of mid to close range play because that's where you want to be on the playing field when you're playing with this character. That's where I like to play a lot is the mid to close range. Heck, even mid to close range on the back line is really useful. And then I would say almost as important, if not more important, than having really good aim. I'd say having really good aim is the most important thing with this character. Because if you don't have good aim, I'm not talking like best aim in the world. I'm talking solid enough aim where you can get consistent tags. That's your first priority with this character if you want to play consistent. But I think the next part is just, um, using your abilities and learning how they work correctly so you can time them well. Um, First of all, let's talk about the ability where you can um turn invisible for a short amount of time, get a speed boost for 3 seconds. Um, and I like to use this one most of the time to get out of a bad situation if I'm weak and to reposition into a good spot. Now, you don't want to run away from the fight for the sake of running. You want to go somewhere. You want to know where you want to go. Like if it's to your healer, if it's to a healing pad, which if you have good healers, you probably won't need the healing pads. So if it's going to your healer, if they're a bit behind you, if it's repositioning, but don't just run to get away from a fight so that you can't get hit and you're playing too safe. Because as a duelist, you cannot um play consistent if you play too safe because you're just not going to be able to get kills. You're not putting pressure. Duelists have to put pressure out on from the mid range to help out those tanks on your team. That just has to happen. So with that ability, I would use it really to reposition. and find heals. That's about it. I would also use it to sneak up on players sometimes, but that's in very niche situations. I think if you can catch a team off guard, which you sometimes will be able to, that's a smart move. But yeah, if you can catch people off guard with that, you're definitely going to be able to make a play. And let's talk about the situation. What if you use that ability and you sneak up on somebody and they're to your back and you catch them off guard? There's something more you can do. You can start hitting tags with her main, but everybody on the first shot of the main, and I'm not consistent at this right now. I definitely can be better at this. You're gonna see that in the gameplay in the background. But when I am consistent with it, it always works. So for me it's left trigger, but her left trigger button where it throws bombs onto the players. As soon as you shoot your first shot with the main, you shoot that too. Because it basically gives you double damage to start the fight. So instead of hitting, let's say, a duelist on the other team's the quarter of their health, you hit half their health. This, guys, is what makes Spider-Man's panic. Because if they get hit once, they're like, I can just run away. What if they get hit double and they're already down to half health by the time they pull up? Well, then they're running for their life, right? And you can possibly hit them out of the air or chase them down. So always do that. You always want to get in a habit of using that left trigger ability if you're on controller with the following up with the main attack you had. You have to do that. I'm telling you guys, it is going to help you out so much because it's going to make fights a lot less stressful and it's going to put a lot more pressure and stress on the other team because they're going to be weak a lot faster than they expect. All right? Now, I would say the most important is the dashes. I would say, guys, the dashes should be only used really to push players. I think the dashes are good for repositioning and getting a good position to get tags on a player or to push a player. There's been times, as you'll see in the background gameplay, where I use them to run away. Avoid doing that unless your invisibility's gone and you have to run to get heals or reposition. You can do that. But prioritize using your invisibility to get away first. That's the key with the character. Also, something I want to note, and this is important. When I talk about getting pressure on players, I mean it. This isn't like, well, you're a duelist, you have to put pressure on. That's part of it, but also, with this character, guys, you get a faster cooldown time when you put pressure. So if you are as long as you are doing damage, your cooldowns will be faster, which is super overpowered. And that's a really good reward, which is why I talk about how aiming is so important, because if you can hit tags, you're just going to have your abilities all the time. And it's going to make life really easy for you and really tough for the other team because it's going to be pressure and they're going to be overwhelmed. Now, the final thing I need to talk about is the butterfly ultimate with this character. This ultimate's unstoppable. I mean, it isn't a Bucky ultimate where you can do it again and again and again. And by the way, that ultimate of his, the Kraken Impact, is still good, but it's not as good as it was because they nerfed its damage. So you have to follow up a lot more than you used to with your main Bucky. If you still main him, I imagine most of you probably aren't. I bet there's some of you out there. I have to consider it and respect it. But yeah, this ultimate's really good. There's a big zone where if players are in there, you're basically doing damage from underneath, and there's nothing they can do. You hit them with it, they're going to die. If they're in the middle, they're going to die. What I recommend doing this, guys, is the best time to use this ultimate is if the other team is in a big group. And they're kind of like right on you. And they're in that circle. Because if you can do it in a group area all the time, you're always going to end up with double, triple kills. Heck, maybe even quadruple kills, maybe even 5 in like 3 seconds. The point I'm making is this ultimate is really good when the other team is grouped up in a poor position. This ultimate is something that they just don't account for. And maybe they can get away out of the ultimate if they're on the way edge of the zone. If they're in like quite a bit like into the middle of the zone and they try to get away, they're just not going to be able to. If you're on the edge of the zone, you can get away, but you're still going to end up coming back weak. So yeah, that is going to do it for our educational commentary on Psylocke. Let me know how you guys feel with these tips, and let me know if they've helped you a lot. And let me know if you want me to do any other educational commentaries or any characters you want me to play, so I can do an educational commentary on them. Nonetheless, that's gonna do it for today's video, JG crew, and I'll see you on the next one. Have a good day.
Incoming! Fight it, fight! The final 10 seconds! It's getting harder than ever. Double KO! You'll have to keep fighting until we have a winner. Step aside. Disappear!
Mantis, that wasn't very empathetic.
So close! This is your big chance!
No better.
Likely.
It had to be done.
What difference? I need assistance.
Oh, I want a kill.
Another epic victory!
I was very greedy.
Win!
Alright, I'll take it. This was either going to be me or the healer, and the healer got MVP. That was a better game than yesterday. Yesterday I had a 31 kill,